Today I'm going to be painting a portrait of Isabel. I'm really pleased to be able to do this because painting people is what I love, and passing on the joy of it really is what I'm interested in. I'd like to introduce the materials that I use and the equipment that I like to use, because they're really important to the way that I work. I've recently started using this 2-inch brush from Rosemary & Co. And it allows me to work in quite an expressive way, but also I can make a clean mark. I'll just show you actually on here. So I could do something quite general, but also I can achieve a clean edge with the edge of the brush. I can make a nice clean line. So I like to work with this one to begin with because it makes so many marks, you know. So when you set yourself up for the act of painting from life, I think that it's helpful to do whatever it takes to make your surroundings comfortable, and make sure that everything is easily accessible to you. So when you're painting the model, that you'll be able to see the model and see the board by only moving your eyes. And everything being easily accessible makes the job of focusing more manageable and more satisfying actually. So the first colour I often start with when I'm painting a portrait is a mix of cadmium red, which is this colour here, and sap green, which is this one. And I think when in doubt, when you're wondering what to use, I think it's a good idea to mix these two together in order to make a colour that represents possibly the shadow side of the skin. So it looks something like that, kind of a general dark skin tone. What you might do is add a little bit of ultramarine into it, ultramarine blue, in order to make it a little bit darker in tone, so you could possibly use it for hair colour. Ultramarine blue mixed with the Van Dyke brown makes quite a nice dark colour as well. There we are. And actually, you know, even just moving the paint around makes you feel a bit more relaxed. So I recommend doing that. So if you want to use a very dark tone, you could keep putting more pigment in, but make sure that the brush is still together at the edge, that it doesn't lose its wateriness. Because in watercolour paint, the joy is really that the pigment is transported by the flow of the water, and you don't want to be pushing the paint around the page. You want it to travel with the water over the surface. So that's that dark colour. The Viridian green, which is this dark green, with the alizarin crimson. It just makes a different dark, and quite nice to have a couple of different options for dark colours. You just put a little bit more green in order that it becomes more like a neutral dark. Then you can make it more red or more green. I think this is pretty balanced as a black colour. So that's a slightly different dark then. But when you start putting on the light on the skin, make sure that everything is clean, that your brush is clean, that your palette is clean, the water is clean, and then maybe a mix of lemon yellow, that brush wasn't very clean, and cadmium red. And it gives you a kind of elastoplast colour that maybe a touch more warmth in it will give it more of a feeling of light skin colour. And so that might be a colour that would represent the light. And then there's yellow ochre and there's cerulean blue as well that you might use to kind of alter the colours slightly. And it's really just good fun experimenting. But I guess when you're starting off, sometimes you want fewer variables. You want to maybe know, okay, that you can reach for a colour that will just get you started. And that's what my plan is just now. So these are the colours that I like to use, and they've just become familiar to me over the last few years, and these are the ones that I reach for always. You can always supplement them with other colours. So I like to use cadmium lemon yellow, cadmium red, those two make the light skin colour, and then the alizarin crimson. When that's mixed with the Viridian green, it makes the dark that we were talking about. So alizarin crimson, Viridian green, Then there's the yellow ochre and the cadmium orange. This is burnt sienna, which I sometimes include because it's quite nice mixed with the ultramarine blue actually, to sometimes make a dark skin colour, say for the shadows and the eye sockets possibly. And then the cerulean blue. If you're painting a man who's got a grey beard, cerulean blue is often a good way of distinguishing it from the skin. Or even sometimes putting a bit of cerulean blue into the white of the eye sets it apart from the skin of the rest of the face and stops it being really bright, but gives it some value to set it apart from the skin. So that's why I like cerulean blue. And it's also the colour of my wall at home, which is quite nice in the background. And then that's the vermilion green that I spoke about with the alizarin crimson. Nice dark green. And this is the Van Dyke brown, which is a deep dark brown that works well with the ultramarine blue to make a different dark from the red and green. And then the sap green, which I use usually to begin the painting with the cadmium red. So sap green mixed with the cadmium red, they neutralise one another and make a colour that's quite good to capture the dark side of the skin. Okay, and that's it. I think I'm ready to start.